Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into the company's Q3 2025 earnings call. Specifically, we're looking at the CEO's opening remarks. Our mission, really, is to cut through the usual financial speak and figure out the core strategy. How is AI really driving things, and what do these, frankly, surprising numbers tell us? Let's kick off with the big news, because, wow, it wasn't just a good quarter. They hit their first ever $100 billion quarter. $100 billion, think about that. Just 5 years ago, it was half that, $50 billion. So they've literally doubled quarterly revenue in 5 years. They're saying, look, we are deep in the generative AI era now.
Yeah, and what jumps out immediately from those remarks is that this isn't just one thing lifting the boat. He really emphasized double-digit growth pretty much everywhere. Cloud, YouTube, subscriptions. It's not just the old search ad engine anymore, this AI stuff. It's generating real measurable growth across the board, which, from a strategy perspective, shows that diversification is actually working. It lowers the risk.
And that AI adoption piece. Some of the numbers are just, well, mind-blowing. Let's start with developers. The Gemini models. They're apparently processing 7 billion tokens per minute, just from direct API calls.
7 billion a minute. That number, it speaks volumes about their operational scale. And just quickly, for anyone listening, a token is basically a piece of a word the AI processes. Handling that kind of volume per minute, that's not just big, it's a competitive advantage. It shows their infrastructure can take the heat, probably at better cost than others. It kind of validates all those years of hardware and software investment.
Okay. And then there's the consumer side, also accelerating like crazy, the Gemini app. Over 650 million monthly active users now, globally. But here's the real kicker for me. The number of queries within the app tripled, 3x growth, just compared to last quarter.
Whoa, 3x query growth.
Yeah.
That suggests it's becoming sticky, right? People aren't just trying it once. They're actually building it into their routines, coming back more often. Habit formation.
And linking that back, you mentioned diversification. Subscriptions played a big part this quarter, too.
Oh, absolutely. Subscriptions are really key to how their revenue mix is changing long-term. They officially crossed 300 million paid subs, mostly driven by Google One, the storage and VPN bundle, and YouTube Premium. The fact that so many users are willing to pay consistently for these other services, that's fundamentally shifting their financial base away from just ads.
Okay, let's unpack the core AI strategy. The CEO called it the full stack approach. He broke it down into 3 parts: infrastructure, then research like models and tools, and finally getting it into products and platforms. Basically, he's saying they own the whole AI pipeline, top to bottom.
Exactly. And started with infrastructure, which he called their key differentiator. It seems like a 2-part strategy there. Offering choice, but also maintaining control. So choice means they're scaling up advanced partner chips. He specifically mentioned the new NVIDIA GP300s in those A4X Max instances are actually shipping to cloud customers now.
But hang on, isn't relying on NVIDIA, who everyone needs right now, a bit of a risk? Or is mixing TPUs and GPUs actually smarter?
Well, it's diversification, but I think it leans towards control. Yes, they use NVIDIA's best stuff, but they also heavily rely on their own custom chips, the TPU's tensor processing units. That lets them fine-tune performance for their own massive workloads, which, helps with costs and efficiency. He mentioned the next gen, the 7th gen TPU called Ironwood, is coming soon to general availability. And the scale. Get this, they shared plans to access up to 1 million TPUs just to meet demand. That kind of scale built on proprietary tech, that's pure competitive advantage.
Okay, so that infrastructure base lets them build powerful models. That's pillar 2, research. He name-dropped a few world-leading models. Gemini 2.5 Pro, Veo for Video, Genie 3, and also, quote, the viral sensation Nano Banana. I have to ask, what on earth is Nano Banana?
Yeah, the name is something else. Nano probably means it's small, very efficient, maybe runs on your phone or locally. Banana, who knows? Maybe it's good at analyzing video given the Veo connection, but honestly, the name isn't the point, it's the output. They said over 230 million videos have already been made with Veo 3. That's not lab stuff, that's actual production use scaling up fast.
And it's not just AI models, right? Their research goes deeper. That quantum computing news was pretty wild.
Oh yeah, the Willow quantum chip.
Yeah.
That was almost sci-fi territory. They ran some algorithm, and it was verifiable 13,000 times faster than a top supercomputer. That's not just faster number crunching. It opens doors to problems we couldn't even tackle before. It really backs up their claim of having fundamental research strength. gives you confidence in their big tech bets.
And you see that reflected in things like their chief scientist, Michel Devoret, getting the Nobel Prize in Physics recently for his earlier work. It speaks to a culture that's genuinely pushing scientific boundaries, not just building products.
Exactly. It adds weight to that world-class research pillar the CEO talked about.
Right, so let's get to pillar 3. Putting all this AI into actual products and platforms. We talked about the 7 billion tokens per minute for developers, but what about their internal use? The company itself is now processing over 1.3 quadrillion tokens every month. That's quadrillion. And it's grown 20x in just 1 year.
20 times. That's exponential doesn't even quite cover it. 1.3 quadrillion. I mean, try to visualize that. It's astronomical. If every person on Earth asked, say, 100 complex AI questions daily for a month, you still wouldn't reach that number. It just tells you AI is being woven into almost everything they do now.
And you see that integration clearly in their hardware push?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The new Pixel 10 phones, first ones with their Tensor G5 chip. And that chip is specifically built to run those Gemini models, maybe even Nano Banana, right on the device itself. Faster, less reliant on the cloud.
And beyond phones, it's the whole ecosystem.
Right. They announced Android XR. That's their new OS, built with Samsung for the Galaxy X device, putting Gemini right at the heart of future headsets and glasses. Plus, he mentioned reimagining Chrome, the browser, with deep AI integrations, even agent-like capabilities.
Okay, now this is where it gets really critical for the core of the business. Search. The CEO called AI an expansionary moment for search, which is huge because everyone's trying to chip away at search, right? But their story is these new AI features are actually making people use search more.
It's a really high-stakes bet, defending their turf, but it looks like it's working. He said query growth accelerated, especially commercial queries, the ones that make money. And he directly credited AI overviews and the dedicated AI mode for driving that.
Any insights on how those specific features are landing?
Yeah, he gave a couple of interesting nuggets. AI overviews driving meaningful query growth. And interestingly, he said the effect was more pronounced with younger people. That's key. It suggests they're managing to keep the next generation engaged, adapting to how they want information. Super important long term.
And AI mode, the separate conversational interface.
That's scaling incredibly quickly. Queries in AI mode apparently doubled in the US just over the quarter. They've rolled it out globally now, 30 languages. And get this user number. Over 75 million daily active users already. That's not a test anymore. It's a massive operational feature driving real usage.
Okay, let's switch gears to the other giant, Google Cloud. Cloud isn't just growing anymore. It feels like it's hitting escape velocity. Revenue growth accelerating, margins improving, and the backlog.
Wow, up 46% in 1 quarter to $155 billion.
Yeah, the cloud section was powerful. The CEO laid out 3 specific ways demand got stronger in Q3, which kind of paints a picture of their strategy shift. First, just sheer volume.
Right.
New GCP customers were up nearly 34% year over year.
That's a lot of new customers, but the real story seems to be about the size of the deals, right? Exactly. That was point 2, value. He said they signed more deals worth over $1 billion just in the first 3 quarters of 2025 than in the previous 2 years combined. So they're not just getting more customers, they're landing the huge strategic enterprise accounts committing big money to AI infrastructure. And third, deepening the relationships. Over 70% of their existing cloud customers are now using their AI products too. He mentioned Best Buy, Fair Price Group as examples.
And the scale within cloud itself is pretty amazing. 13 different product lines are each doing over $1 billion a year in revenue now. That's like cloud is becoming a tech conglomerate all by itself.
Right. And their AI leadership claim in enterprise seems solid. 9 out of the top 10 AI labs use Google Cloud. And it's delivering results. Revenue from products built on their Gen AI models, up over 200% year over year in Q3. He gave specific examples. WPP getting up to 70% efficiency gains, Swarovski boosting email open rates by 17%, tangible ROI.
And the gateway for businesses seems to be Gemini Enterprise. He called it the new front door for AI in the workplace. Already hit 2 million subscribers across 700 companies. That's a really fast start for enterprise software.
It totally is. It shows those billion-dollar deals are for the big infrastructure, yeah. But the 2 million subs show that everyday workers are also adopting their packaged AI tools to get stuff done, like achieving those efficiency gains.
All right, let's quickly touch on YouTube and the other bets to wrap up the CEO's points. YouTube just keeps dominating, still #1 in U.S. living room streaming watch time for over 2 years straight, according to Nielsen.
And they flexed that scale muscle, didn't they? That first exclusive global NFL game, broadcast from Brazil, pulled in over 19 million fans, Set a new YouTube record for concurrent live stream viewers. That shows they can handle massive live events.
And Shorts. Remember the debate about whether Shorts could ever make real money? Well, the CEO confirmed that in the US, Shorts now actually earns more revenue per watch hour than the traditional longer videos.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's a complete turnaround. Shorts was seen as like a necessary evil to compete with TikTok, potentially eating into more profitable views, making more per hour now. That means they've cracked the code on both engagement and monetization for short-form video.
Okay, last bit. Other bets, mainly Waymo, the self-driving car unit. Seems like they're shifting from R&D to real expansion.
Definitely feels like Waymo is hitting the accelerator. Plans to launch in London and Tokyo next year, big international moves. Plus expanding in the US to Dallas, Nashville, Denver, Seattle. And crucially, they got full permission to operate autonomously at the San Jose and San Francisco airports. Those are high-value routes. Oh, and they launched Waymo Teens accounts in Phoenix, thinking about the next generation of riders already.
So putting it all together, the CEO called it a milestone quarter, driven by AI leadership. But what's the real takeaway here for you listening at home or on your commute?
I think the big takeaway is that AI isn't just hype or a cost center anymore. It's demonstrably driving the top line and the bottom line. You see it directly boosting search queries. You see it landing those massive billion-dollar cloud deals. And you see it transforming how consumers engage with that incredible 20x token growth. They're really making the shift, I think, from just being the search and ad giant to being this much more diversified AI, cloud, and subscription company. The transition seems well underway.
Yeah, that Gemini app stat keeps sticking with me. 650 million monthly users and queries growing 3x quarter over quarter. If that kind of consumer AI adoption keeps accelerating and cloud keeps signing those billion-dollar checks, what's the next big revenue milestone going to be? And how fast will they hit it? Definitely something to mull over. Okay, that wraps up our deep dive into the CEO's view of a, well, truly terrific quarter. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.